My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we're going to dive into a topic around chaos. Now, you probably looked at the title of this and was like, where is she going with this? And so today what I want to do is I want to dive into this topic around chaos in our lives, chaos in our world, which I'll be genuine, when we're a complete reflection, it's no wonder we're feeling and seeing the things. And so I really want to take you full circle through what I see a lot of women, even myself, and I want to share just some personal feelings that I've been feeling as far as how chaotic things have been. So see, here's the deal. When we can't see through the mud, meaning our life is just so turned upside down, stuff's going on left and right. We're in the thick of it, if you will, or dare I say, shitstorm. How do you see results? How do you see weight loss, for example? How do you win in your career? How do you, win in your business? How do you put lean tissue on when you constantly feel like you can't even come up for air? Yet, I see so many women that this is just a rhetorical theme day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and they never seem to get anywhere. It's kind of like Dora on, Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. And it's like, well, sure, yeah, we just keep swimming, but not if we're always going in circles, right? Like, this is insanity, doing something over and over and over again and getting the same result. So I wanted to dig into this topic because it was something even myself I felt for a very, very long time, that I just kept feeling like everything was in chaos. Everything was going in a direction that I didn't desire to go in. And all it did was leave me frustrated, overwhelmed. I didn't feel like I could see my health results or have my goals. Every time I'd get really, really close to my goal, I would just self-sabotage myself. And I just felt that everything was in chaos. I felt like our kids were in chaos, my relationships were in chaos, the world was in chaos. And so this is something that if you've been feeling this feeling right now, first off, I want you to know you are not alone. Second, it's real. Like, this is what's going on in our world right now. And the reason I want to bring this to you, this topic to you here today, is because we can actually do something about this. When we take personal responsibility to control this chaos, to stop the shitstorm, we will see ourselves as a collective on the other side. Now, you may be sitting there just a little skeptical. Maybe you're walking, maybe you're, getting a good workout in at the gym, or maybe you're just listening to this in the car. But you're probably wondering, like, where the heck is she going? Like, where are we going on this journey here today? And I'm telling you basically what I have been feeling. This whole election that's going on is obviously extremely important for all of us. And this is coming from someone who literally had their head in the stand till like 2022. So new to the scene here. But Here's the deal. Like, the more I've dove in, the more like frustrated, upset I get. I can see why one party feels one way. I can see why another party feels the other. The lies, man, the lies. I think that's what was bothering me more today. And I had this, not a huge epiphany, but when I was on my walk this morning, I just happened to glance up. I had already listened to a podcast, and at this point of the walk, I had just taken my headphones out. I had put them in the pocket in my shorts. I was still holding my phone. The sun was shining. There were beautiful clouds coming across the sky, and I looked up at the skyline. And so where I walk, I could see the skyline of our downtown Indianapolis, which is not anything exciting or earth-shattering. But I remember, like, some days I can't see the skyline because the clouds. And I was like, man, soak this in, because pretty soon, the clouds are coming in and you're not going to be able to see this. And I was just like looking around going, man, it's, a nice 65 degrees. The sun is shining. If you didn't know any better, everything's okay. And that's where I kind of went with myself today, as I was like, but Arin, everything is okay. And so I just kept re-saying that over and over in my head. But no, this is going on. This is going on. And I kept almost fighting myself. I don't know if you guys have like these interesting battles in your head with yourself. Maybe I'm the only one and I'm the only weirdo out there, but I was having this whole dialogue. And I'm like, man, if anybody sees me right now, they're probably like, what is she doing? Like, run the other way. But I was having this whole internal conflict with myself. And this is a reflection of what's going on everywhere in this world. There is a lot of chaos. There is a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of things that we absolutely cannot control right now, but there's absolutely a ton of things that we can control. So that's where I want to take this podcast here today, is helping everyone understand just what I feel on a daily basis. And you may be like, whoa, I need to turn this off now. She's weird. And that's all good. But for those of you who are hanging with me on this, you're going to be like, man, I feel this way too, or I have a version of this that I feel on a daily basis. And it's like, I think so many times we want to solve everyone's problems, right? As women, we are constantly in solutions. We're constantly figuring out a better way, how to juggle all the things. Even my husband and I were talking about this the other day. No matter what, a woman will always have, the kids constantly on their mind. And it's not that men don't. It's just not the same degree and not the same capacity. It's not a right, wrong. It's not a you're doing better than you're doing. It's just how we're wired. We are wired different to make sure that there's food in the fridge. We're wired different to make sure that, everything is moving when it comes to the little humans in our life, let alone the house, the dog, the cat, all the things are going in the right direction to our own demise most of the time. So we constantly feel this, we're running on a hamster wheel, and we constantly feel like we can never get ahead. I know for a lot of women, they look at a weight loss goal and maybe they just say, screw it. And they say, I don't even want to try because I don't want to fail. Or I know a lot of women that, yes, of course they'd love to lose weight, but that's not their main focus. They just want to be healthy. They just want to feel better. Well, okay, gotcha. But I know for a lot of women, they don't go for what they want because they don't believe they can actually achieve it because of all the competing priorities. There's all these other things that keep trumping what they're trying to do. And it's just this constant letdown. It's this constant circle. And it's like when everything else is spinning out of control, like, let's not just add one more thing to our plate. But here's the caveat. What if you did have control over the things that you could control? What if you did feel like everything was going in the right direction? What if everything was going in the right direction and maybe you had a hiccup? Maybe something happened. If you felt more in control, when something did come or, some things showed up in your life, do you think you'd handle them just a little bit better? That's where we're going to go now in this conversation. Because as much as we want to just complain and talk and vent, oh, there's so much going on in this world. Oh, I'm so stressed. Oh, I'm this or that. Like, that's just talk, right? We all feel that. And it's never that I want to discount that. It's, hey, yeah, we do feel that. Where I want you to go is into the action of, what do I got to do about this? And I want to take you even further into this topic. What if you're the one creating the chaos? What if you're the one that's creating the shitstorm? What if you're the one that is creating all the challenges in your life? Now, I'm purposefully pausing there because I want this to kind of jolt you. I want this to kind of shake you and be like, man, this chick's whack. No, just kidding. Broke your state there, I'm hoping. But I want you to understand that everything is a mirror. That when we can take ultimate personal responsibility for what's going on in our lives and around us, that you can be empowered, that you can make changes, you can take control. Too many times I see a woman say, I can't lose weight. And so, of course, I'll ask a few follow-up questions. I'll ask her a few more details. And it's not the truth. That's not the truth. See, as women, we tell ourselves a bunch of lies. We tell ourselves lies that, oh, I'll start on Monday, knowing full and well that we'll kind of, sort of, and then probably by Thursday, we'll throw hands up in the air and say, screw it. We try to make things so complicated, so hard that, there's no way that we could possibly make this happen. Yet, side note, I see you ladies out there cranking, doing all these things. And I'm like, if she can do that, we can do weight loss. That's simple, right? But it's not simple. It's not simple when you're unsure of the right path, the right plan. And so that's where I can appreciate this, but that's tactical. And that's where getting coaching and support can be really, really helpful. Find someone who has solved the problem. This is no different than finding a business coach or a career coach or somebody who has the results that you desire and you seek them out to help you. That's tactical. That's a whole different story. What I want to talk about is the chaos that you're creating in your mind. You're creating this storm that doesn't have to exist. See, the only reason I can speak on this is because I'm really good at making this storm. I'm really good at creating all kinds of tailspins, all kinds of internal dialogue that absolutely does not serve me. But what I've also learned in this journey is that I don't have to feed into this. I don't have to buy into, oh, I'm so busy. Oh, I'm so spent. Oh, this or that. Like, life is so hard. I don't have to buy into that. We all get to choose. That's the coolest thing about the day and age that we live in here today is we are choosing what we do on a daily basis. If you feel like you're working too much, quit. You don't have to do what you're doing. Quit. Well, but Arin, I got to pay the bills. I got to do it. Cool. Go get a different job. None of us are stuck doing what we are doing. Hell, I just stopped an entire revenue stream, stopped an entire business because it was no longer serving what my husband and I desired. Do you think I wanted to shut something down after 16 years of building it? Hell no. But it was no longer the best way to get the desired outcome. There were a lot of external factors that we didn't agree with, that we weren't going along with. So we could either continue to bitch and moan about it, or we could say, you know what? Let's try something else. Let's do something different. Let's go in this path. Yeah, there's uncertainty. Yeah, there's a little bit, but I'll tell you what's the alternative? Not doing anything? So I want you to take personal responsibility for everything that is going on in your world. And now you may be saying like, hey, Arin, I didn't ask for this. And there's 100 things that I could tell you that have happened to me in my lifetime that, you know what, I didn't ask for that. And sometimes stuff does happen, but we're in control of our reactions and how we come up with solutions and how we consider things done differently. And so I want you to ask some really, really difficult questions of yourself and ask yourself, am I creating this chaos? Am I booking the family in so many activities that, we're just staying super, super busy? What is that? Why do you do that? Especially if it's just wrecking everyone, no one's getting in bed on time. We're constantly like, get in the bath, do this, do that, right? If everybody's droggy and sick, these are things to really lean into. If you're constantly sick, what's going on there? Are we getting enough recovery? Are we eating the right foods? Are we getting to bed at a decent hour? What does our stress look like? What are the things that you can do to help manage? And, I can appreciate not everybody can just sell a building and, completely change directions. Hell, I didn't think I could sell this building, to be completely honest. I can appreciate not everybody thinks they can just up and leave a job. But here's the thing that I will tell you is I've watched so many women stay in jobs way too long. I knew from the very, very first time that I had my very, very first real career job, I was like, there is no way. And I have told this before, but I will never forget my mom and dad being like, this is it. This is the job for the next 30 years. And I was like, I'm going to gouge my eyes out. But, everybody has different views and lenses to this world and what they believe is right or wrong. And so if you find yourself constantly in chaos, you find yourself never hitting your health and wellness goals, I want you to ask yourself, how am I creating this? What am I doing that is absolutely holding me back from hitting my goal? If we're being really, really honest with ourselves, we're going to be able to come up with several things that it's like, well, I probably should stop, binging on this. I should really go to bed earlier. I'm drinking too many alcoholic beverages. I bought Halloween candy in September, and all of us know that that bag of candy is not going to make it to October 31st. You are seen. I digress in that topic, but our kids were at the checkout and they asked me like, oh, there's Halloween candy. Is Halloween coming? And I'm like, oh, no. They were like, can we get some Halloween candy? And I was like, no, anyone who buys Halloween candy in September is not saving it to October 31st. I don't care who you are. That is not happening. So to pull this topic all full circle is we want to really understand, if we are feeling all this anxiety, we're feeling all this chaos stirring inside of us, we're feeling all the uncertainty of this world, I want you to know you're not alone, that I get 100% in my feels most days of the week, but I also am heavily trained to help pull my state, to ask myself good questions, and pull myself back into a more resourceful state. This is something that I want to encourage you to step back, ask yourself these critical questions okay, how am I creating this? And at first you may not come up with any answers, and that's okay, but I want you to come back and revisit it, because 9 times out of 99999 out of 10, you have the answer. If you're willing to look for it, if you're willing to get raw and real with yourself, that you understand how you innately are creating the chaos. And as a collective, as a society, if we all would take personal responsibility to really live to an entirely different standard, where we eat really nutritious, healthy foods most of the time, we exercise our bodies appropriately, we involve ourselves in meaningful work that, yes, of course, pays the bills, takes care of your family, but you feel so good about the time investment for the return. When you have loving relationships that are only win-win, that everybody feels good about this relationship. And when you can look at your neighbor who maybe has completely different views than you, but you can still love them, that's when this world is going to start turning around. But it takes every single one of us getting through the chaos and realizing that, hey, I'm in control. Yes, there are some things that I'm just going to be genuine. We do have some pretty evil people in this world, but it's our job to be on our A game every single day so that when stuff happens, we can all unite. We can all come together, because divided we're falling. Okay? So I want you to ask yourself, how am I creating the chaos in my life? Be bold. Ask yourself this question and get really, really clear. Come up with some solutions and actually take action. That is a challenge that I want to give you, because you are in more control than you actually realize. All right, ladies, let's go get them.